What if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead? Baby, you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed. Think you're something out of my nightmares. Standing right there. What if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead? Then will you get bored of killing me?
Alright, you're welcome to the channel. My name is Ndifon, Ntui, and on this channel I make sewing tutorials. I post new videos. Oh wow, I'm not sure that I'm gonna post a video. Anyway, if you watch this video and it ends up being useful and you like what you see here, please consider subscribing. So to make this kimono dress we've seen, I have 4 yards of fabric. Now 4 yards of fabric is going to be enough for most women. Only if you have my 2 younger sisters that are above 6 foot, roughly 6'2". So if you are them, you might need 4.5 yards because of the extra length that you have. But for most other people under that sort of height, 4 yards will be fine, which is what I have here. Let's get started. Alright, so now when you have the 4 yards of fabric, the first thing you want to do is you want to divide it into 2 yards. Now make sure that when you are getting a fabric, that you get a fabric that is by 60. So what I mean by 60 is the length of the fabric should be 60 inches or just around 60 inches. So if you are using like Ankara that's 45 yards, you might need to add to the length. Make sure you're dealing with the fabric. It's a lot easier to make this well if you're dealing with the fabric that's by 60. What you're going to do is fold it down to 2 yards. Okay, so remember we have 4 yards. If you divide it, you have 2 yards, and then you want to separate these 2 yards now. All right, then take away one of it. Then this one that we're taking away, before we keep it aside, on that same width, so on the side that is 60 inches, I want you to divide this side here into 2. Divide it into 2 because remember the front has an opening in the center, so you need these 2 parts here to be separate. Now before you go ahead ripping fabric the way I'm ripping, be sure that the fabric that you are working with does not rip to one side. Make sure the fabric that rips perfectly straight like mine does. If not, you want to keep it down on your table, straighten it out and use the scissors to cut it. My hand is not there. Then you need to fold the part that's still that's the part that's still a complete 2 yards that we've not cut. I need you to fold it down, fold it into half. So on the part that is by 60, that's on the width of your fabric, not the part that they measure 1, 2, 3 on the side. Fold it into half like I'm doing. Make sure you keep it perfectly straight. So after you folded it, first thing you want to do is you want to mark out the top ½ inch. This is going to be our sewing allowance. By the time we want to join the front and the back together at the shoulder, so just mark ½ inch at the top. Next thing we're going to do is you're going to take out your neckline. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take out just 3 inches for our neckline. Alright, and then I want you to slope the neckline, by 0.75. So when I say 0.75, I mean point right here. So you see this last semi-long line before 1 inch. That's what I'm talking about. And then after you have marked using that measurement, now I'm marking from the line, not from the edge of the fabric, from the line. Alright. After you've cut out that neckline, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to mark out your dress length. So for me, I'm working with a dress length of about 61 inches. So meaning if I'm measuring from this ½ inch allowance that I'm measuring from now, I would measure 62.5. The reason why I'm adding 62.5 is because I'm keeping 1.5 for my hemming at the bottom. So add whatever allowance you want. If you want a big hem at the bottom, you add that to the original dress length that you want. I'm going to measure 62.5 starting from this point here. Alright, what I just did was I'm marking whatever I have here. So you see from here to here is 10.5. That's from the bottom to here is 10.5. Make sure I mark 10.5 here. And if I connect these 2 lines together, my hem should be straight. Alright, so that's basically all the drafting we will need to do. That's basically all the marking we will need to do. The only other place we will need to mark is we need to cut the front parts to be short. Alright, so let me get the front. Now, because we divided the center of the front, remember the front, we divided the front into, we split the front in half. So the front is going to be a bit longer than the back because where the front of the kimono dress meets the back is at the shoulder. Okay, this is where they are connected. Now you see this part I just cut out of my neckline. We'll need to remove this from the front. So what I want you to do is I want you to simply take the front. So you see the front now. You're going to place the edges together. So you place the ends here together, and then you simply use your chalk to mark the front, and then we're going to cut this all the way down. If you want to make sure that it goes all the way straight, if your fabric does not rip smoothly like mine, what you would do is you will now come to the end, pick up the end, and then mark it as well. So you will then mark it like that as well, and then you can now fold it, use your scissors and cut a straight line. But for me, since my fabric rips easily, cuts right across the mark I made. See? So my fabric is splitting correctly. So this part here would be joined to this part here on the shoulder. Let me just do the same thing to the other side of the front, because remember the front has two sides. So with that, our shoulders are the same. The next part I'm going to need to mark on the front, so that's this part that I've used for the front, is the length. You need to make sure the length is the same as well. So what you do is you simply take one of your ends like this, align it with the back, and then just simply take it like this all the way to the end. And then you make a mark. So now you are sure that the front and the back are the same length. That's from the shoulder all the way down. That's what I just did. So you keep this side aside, and then come to the bottom. If your fabric does not rip straight like mine, what you are going to do at this point is you are going to measure from here to here. So you're going to take the measurement of the little mark we just made now. So you mark from here down. So that's around 10.5. You're going to come here, mark 10.5, and then you cut. But for me, I don't need to pass through all of that because my fabric is doing the work for me. So I'm going to rip this open. You can see the place I ripped is running right on the line that we marked. Nothing more, nothing less. So I'll do the same thing to the other side of my front. Alright, so this was the back that we drafted together. What I need you to do, I need you to lay it flat. So you can see I'm keeping the front side facing up, and then I'm going to get, that's the back, I'm going to get the sides for that's meant for the front. So what you are going to do is this. We are simply going to join the shoulders together. So you take the clean side, make it face the clean side, and I'm going to join the shoulders together, consuming that ½ inch. Remember we kept ½ inch for sewing allowance. I'm going to run across that ½ inch here, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side as well. Okay, so now this is what you are going to have. Okay, after I have joined both sides of the shoulder, you can see we have formed the center that we have here. Next thing I'm going to do is we're going to have to create the center piece. So this is the fabric I'm combining it with. This is a very, very light corduroy like material, but if you have crepe, that should also work. If you have damask, that should also work. What I'm going to do with this is I'm going to need to measure a long measurement. Now remember, when we're cutting this, the length from here to the end was 61 inches. We added that the normal dress length we want at the end of the day is 61 inches. So I added 1.5 to that number. That 1.5 brought us to 62.5 inches. That's 61 plus 1.5 is equal to 62.5. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to measure this neck. Please hold that 62.5 in your head, or whatever yours is, as in your dress length plus your allowance. Okay, so 62.5. What we're going to do is we're going to measure this neckline now across. So our neckline across is roughly 7 inches. you're going to divide whatever you get for that neckline into, it should be the same thing with this, because I didn't tell you to do anything different. So you should have 7 inches. You will divide 7 inches in 2. 7 inches divided by 2 is 3.5 inches. You will now add this 3.5 inches to whatever your dress length plus your allowance was. So for me, that number was 62.5. So 62.5 plus this neck, this half of this neck that we just measured, 62.5 plus half of the neck that we just measured, that's 3.5, is equals to 66. Hang on, okay? I know that the math is splitting your head. Hang on. So we have to do one more thing. I have to multiply that 66 times 2, because that 66 is the measurements starting from the floor. So we're going from down here. So from here all the way across here, all the way to the middle of the neck. So that's just one side. We need 2 sides. We need for this side and we need for that side. That's why we're multiplying that 66 times 2. So 66 times 2 gives us 132 inches. We need to cut this fabric, a piece of this fabric, into 132 inches by 3 inches. Alright, so we're going to have a very long rectangle. Okay, so use that formula for whatever you are, for whatever length you are working with, because the only difference you would have is the distance, is your dress length. It depends if you are shorter or if you are taller, that number will be less or more. So I'm going to cut a rectangle out of this here, and it's going to be 132 inches by 3 inches. I would show you when I'm done cutting it. Most likely you will need to join, you know, 2 pieces together. If you are dealing with a fabric that's long, you might need to join 2 pieces together to have that number. It would be better if that joining sits right at the center. So it would be better if you have 2 pieces that's completing this. So you have 166 here, another 66 here, and when you join them together, it gives you the full length. It's best that that line sits right in the center of the back. And if you have to join 2 pieces together, make sure you cut 100 and you add you add 1 inch to whatever was your final number. Okay, whatever your final number was, add 1 inch to it. That 1 inch is going to serve as the allowance for creating the joining at the back. I hope it's clear. This is the only part of this thing that gets technical, I promise you. All right, so this is one of the 2 pieces I would need to complete that center piece. And sorry if I made a mistake and I said 66 by 3. Sorry, it's 66 or 60 for me. I'm cutting it at 66 and a half because of the half inch for joining at the shoulder. Anyway, it's going to be 66 and a half by 6 inches. Reason why I said 3 is because by the time we are sewing this, we're going to fold this in half. When we're sewing it, half inch of this will be lost to the joining it to this side. So the reason why I was saying 3 inches was because of when we fold like this, it's going to be 3 inches, but we need it to be double. So whatever number you are cutting for your 60 something, make sure that you cut it with a width of 6 inches, not 3. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and iron interfacing onto both of them. I have 2 of them that I intend to join together to make one. The join is going to sit right at the middle of the back like I had said. So I'm going to go ahead and iron stay onto this part now. Alright, so I have ironed on my stay onto my the 2 patterns I have that will make up the centerpiece. Also, if you intend to make this the neatest it can be, this will be the best time to use your overlocker, your weaving machine, to finish this shoulder joining. So the joining you have under the shoulder, this will be the best time to finish them so that it is neat. But that out of the way, the next thing I'm going to do is we're going to join both of them together, half an inch, to complete that length that we're looking for. Alright, so after we've joined them together, we're going to spread this and iron it flat. Alright, just like this. Alright, so on to the next step. Alright, now on to the next step, which is working on the middle piece. Now remember that dress length that we're working with. So when we're working with our dress length, for me the dress length was 61 inches and I added 1.5 inches to it because of my hemming at the bottom, so that gave us 62.5. Now when you're taking the measurement on the for the dress, what you are going to do is you're going to have a measurement called shoulder to slit, meaning you take the measurement from the shoulder, you're going to go down the chest, and then you will stop at where you want your slit to start. Okay, so from the shoulder to where you want that opening in front to start from. and then you write down that number. For me, that number from the shoulder to where I want the opening to start from is 36 inches. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to subtract 36 inches from your dress length plus your hemming allowance. So for me, that's going to be 62.5 minus 36 inches. All right, and that leaves me with 26.5. So what you're going to do is you're going to come from the bottom now. Okay, you're going to come from the bottom and you're going to mark the 26.5. all right, okay, and then you're going to come from the top. You see this part, make a mark there. You're going to come from the top and you're going to measure out 12 inches. Okay, and you're going to make a mark. Now this 12 inches is I think it will work for almost just any full-grown lady. It will work for any full-grown lady, so I will call it a standard measurement. From that 12 inches that we're placing there is the distance from the shoulder to the opening, so where your head is going to pass through. You're going to make it 12 inches. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to head over to my sewing machine. You want to make sure that this line stays in the center at all times. So you measure to 6 inches, you make a mark where you have the 3, come down again, make a mark where you have 3 inches. You see this? Just make marks all over. This is going to guide how you sew all the way down to where your slit is going to start from. Okay, so now I'm going to simply run a straight line from here, touching all these dots, and I'm going to stop right here. Okay, that's where I'm going to stop. So let me make that stitch. After you make this stitch, you're going to need to iron a bit. So you see this part that we have here, by the time we open it up, you see, this is what I did. I kept this one under, kept this one on top, ran a stitch that joined both of them together. By the time we open it up, you will see that we have formed that center part. Okay, alright, so I'm done ironing this. Before we move on to joining them together, one of the things that I will need you to iron is the back. Just press it just a little bit. I need you to fold it in half. You know, you align the shoulders together, make sure you get the neckline good, and then I need you to just touch that neckline even just a bit, one time. That's so that it marks out where the exact center is, because we're about to join them together. Okay, so I actually left to go and try it on my wife to see if, you know, I just threw it over her head to see if the distance from the back to the neck is okay, and also where the slit begins is okay. So this is the last opportunity you will get to make sure that everything's okay. So just throw it on your head, see where the opening on the neck starts. If the cleavage is too high or too low, you simply just either you loosen and you go down, or you stitch up some more. The same thing with your slit. Just make sure all is well, because after this you almost cannot come back here again. It's going to be very, very annoying to do this 2 times. So next thing I'm going to do is we're going to turn this upside down, and then I'm going to stitch together. So you see, I'm going to start from this neck. You see the way I placed it? Okay, this is the front side of the centerpiece. So this is the part I want to show at the back at the end of the day. So what we're going to do is we're going to place the clean side, or the front side that we've chosen, to the front side of our back. You see, make sure that this line is laying flat on this line, and then we're going to join from here all the way down, and then we're going to join from here all the way down. We're going to simply and carefully adjust this all the way and stitch it together. Let me do one side, and I will come back to show you before I do the other side, so that you just get an idea of what I'm doing. Okay, so here you can see what I've done to this side. I've joined the neckline from the back all the way down to the opening. Okay, so this is what we're supposed to do all the way around. I just wanted to just give you and just show you what I'm doing. So I'll simply just repeat that step over here. I'll just continue my stitch. This stitch I started here, I'll simply just continue it all the way down. I'm going to turn and align this all the way. So let me do that and I'll be back. Okay, so now this is what we have. This is the neck area that we have here. We're done with that. The next step is to create that agbada like shoulder that the kimono has, and to do that you're going to need to take your shoulder measurement. So the shoulder I'm working with is 15 inches. You're going to divide 15 inches in half. 15 divided by 2 should be 7.5. So you're going to place that 7.5 in the center. So you take your whatever your shoulder measurement is, divide it in half, and whatever that number is. So for me that's 7.5. For you it's probably going to be 7 or the same thing. And you're going to mark it. You see where I'm placing the tape? On the center of the neck. So from the center of the neck, you're going to make a mark at 7.5. That's where the shoulder is. You're going to come this other way too. From the center of the neck, you're going to place 7.5. That's half of the shoulder. Okay. Excuse me. Make sure you lay everything flat. Mark 7.5 the other way as well. We're going to come 2 inches after this point and make a mark. Okay. You see that 2 inches after that point, we make a mark. The same thing here. Mark 2 inches after that point. Once you have done that, we have to start marking. There's going to be a lot of marking done here. The next thing we're going to do is you're going to measure the distance from the edge to this point, because we want to get this 2 inches that we've marked correct from here all the way down. Okay, so we're going to come from here and we're going to measure to the end. So from the edge to this point is 18.5. I'm going to come down, make a mark at 18.5. Okay, I'm going to come down again from the edge, 18.5. You see that? I'm going to need to mark that all the way down the front. So I'm going to need to mark this all the way down the front and all the way down the back. So to do that, I'm going to need to open this up. On this side here, you can see that I've marked 18.5. What you want to do is you want to fold your fabric on the dots that we have. So you see, you're going to turn over to the wrong side. So this is the wrong side of my dress, and I'm going to iron on my 18.5. So I'm going to fold this back now, right on that point, and I'm going to iron. We've successfully created that shoulder, that sharpness in the shoulder. So what we're going to do now is you're going to come to the bottom of the dress. I'm going to start from the front here, and you are going to carefully stitch 2 inches. So from here, I'm going to stitch 2 inches. From here, I'm going to run. Now these 2 inches, you are stitching it while the fabric is still folded, so that by the time you release here and turn, you have this part here hanging independently. Okay, so that's what we're trying to do. We're going to run 2 inches from here all the way across to the back. So let me do that and I'll be back. Alright, so we have successfully created the agbada effect on this side of the shoulder. So now let me do the same thing on this other side as well. Alright, I really do hope the camera is picking it up, but I've also done the same thing on this side. We have the same thing on this side. The next thing you are going to do is you are going to take your you're going to need to place your measurement. So you're going to need to take your sleeve length. So but the way you take the sleeve length is you start from wherever you want. So let's say you want it to be 2 inches above your shoulder. You start from wherever you want, go across here, go across the neck all the way to the other side here. Okay, so to the same place but on the other side, and you take that number. So for me that number is 36 inches. So that's from elbow to elbow. It's not the elbow exactly, it's a bit higher than the elbow, but if you want to take from your elbow to the other elbow, fine, whatever you want to do, that's all right. But for me it's just above. So that number was 36 inches. you divide 36 inches in half and you have 18 inches. I'm going to place 18 in the middle here, and I'm going to make a mark here, okay? And do the same thing for the opposite side. Place 18 in that center of the neck and make a mark the other way as well, okay? And then I'm going to take that number so that we know what it is. So I'm going to take here, so this is 6 inches and this here is 6 inches as well. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to turn all of this inside out. Now don't worry about it. Once you place this, your hip is going to enter here, your bust is definitely going to enter here, except you are South African, then maybe your hip won't enter in, and I don't know. But what you're going to do is you're going to place that 6 inches. I'm now going to stitch from this part here. So we know that this is the inner part of the shoulder. That's our shoulder joining. I'm going to come down 8 inches, and from that 8 inches I will start to stitch that 6 inches all the way down. So from the shoulder line here, you want to come down 8, okay, and then you want to come in 6, and we're going to stitch this from here all the way down. I'll do the same thing on the other side as well. All right, and when you're done with stitching both sides, you come to the line here, you come 2 inches after it, and you cut any excess that you have, okay? All right, and then when you are done with cutting it off, this will be the best time to use your overlocker to finish the sides. Please finish them differently. Finish here separately, finish here separately, from here all the way up to the top. But with that out of the way, please, if you have cut it like I have done, make sure to reinforce these shoulder stitches once again here and at the other side, so that it doesn't start to break because of the cut that we've made. Alright, so after you cut off the 2 inches from here, you're going to, and then you've woven it all the way around, you're going to fold that 2 inches in, and but we're not going to stitch it. We're going to use hemming gum so that it has a nice clean look. We don't want any stitches around the armhole area, so we're going to plant hemming gum under here and iron it on. But iron it before applying the hemming gum. Alright. Alright, now in case I've not said it already, please make sure to use the overlocker. After you do the arm, you use the hemming gum on your armhole. And you use your overlocker to finish these edges. Make sure you also finish this rough edge that you would have here from joining this middle parts to the other sides of the front. Now for the last step and the most vital step, matter of fact, we should have done this step a while ago, but I forgot, but better late than never. I'll show you how to attach the belt. Now if you look at the Bubu, you can see that from the front is fitted, but the back is loose. So how is that done? That's the next step we're going to tackle now. Okay, so to attach that belt, we're going to need our underbust length measurement. Now the underbust length measurement I'm working with is 14, so I'm going to come down by 1 inch. So our underbust length is 14. I'm going to come down by 1 inch and make a mark. So that means from the shoulder, I'm going to come down to 15 and I'm going to make a mark. Now notice I'm marking in our midline. That's the midline that we use to form that agbada thing. That's the two sides that stand out. So I want you to mark them. Then I want you to get a seam ripper and I'm going to loosen down 2 inches, okay? So you're going to use the seam ripper, you're going to loosen. After the 15, I want you to loosen down by 2 inches. I'll do the same thing on the other side as well. We should have done this part ever since, but nothing spoil. Okay, so that has been done. Do the same thing, loosen this other part as well. Okay, so with all the cutting we have been doing, we should have a lot of long pieces. So this piece I have here is 3 inches wide and 60 inches long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over to my sewing machine and I'm going to make a belt out of this. So you can see the top part is already has a ½ inch bend. I'm going to bend ½ inch here, ½ inch here, and then I would collapse it like this, and I would sew from here, right? I'll sew an L, and I'll go all the way down, and I'll repeat the same fold at the end here, I'll bend here by half inch to the left, half inch to the right, and then I'll collapse it. Alright, so let me do this and I'll be back. Alright, so I've created the belt. Okay, look at what I told you to do, like that, all the way down to the end. So what I'm going to do to this belt now is I'm going to divide it in half. Alright, you see that? And I'm going to plant one inside here. So you see this space that we opened up. I'm going to plant one inside there. Alright? And I'm going to plant one this other way. So after you've planted it in, just to secure it before we stitch it so that it doesn't move, we're going to use hemming gum to just hold it in there. Okay? We're going to use hemming gum to just hold it in there before we go on to hem the bottom. Now this is what you are going to tie on the inside, and after you put it on, and it will look like the front is going to be fitted and the back is going to be loose, and it's not going to look like elastic, it's not going to look like anything. If you don't know, this very easy thing will puzzle he who lacks knowledge for hours. So let's put this and then turn it to the front. So after I turn it to the front, from the front here I can feel my belt inside already. So what I'm going to do now is just to restitch this part. So what we have loosened, I'll simply just make the connection. Once I connect my seams back, I would have locked this belt in place. Alright, I'm going to do the same thing here. And after you do that, you just hem the bottom of the dress, consuming the 1.5 inches of allowance that we kept initially. And once you do that, you are done with the dress. So that's how it was made. If you've watched this far, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Have a nice day. Bye. I did make this dress with pockets. If you want to see how to attach side pockets for a dress like this, I'm going to drop a link to that video, first link in the description. So check it out. See you later.